So we plan to make another live today. It's all about what do we do in the morning after sending our son to the daycare and walking the dogs. So I got home. And so today, we went to the daycare together to send Louie there. So now we got house and I plan to do some housework. So we plan to make a live today to show about what do we do to maintain the cleanliness of our house. And we talk about some bills. We just received our first bill in Mexico City, and we're gonna show you how much is our first bill, the gas bill. Hi, I don't know who already joined us. If you want to say hi, I couldn't see the name yet. So I'm Landy. This is my husband, Roddy. We live in Mexico City. Hi, Cindy.
How are you doing?
So who joined us this early? Finally. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you. Yeah, I know you sent us a comment yesterday. You missed our live. Yeah, we didn't really schedule our live. Today, I said, okay, let's do it. Why not? And we want to share our real life in Mexico City.
Right.
Yeah, this is our new apartment. Probably already see the narrow Christmas tree. Yes.
We have to kind of save space there and put the narrow Christmas tree.
Cindy likes the Christmas tree. It's small and narrow. How much we paid? Like $40 something.
I think it was
on sale.
Was it 1,000 pesos or 1,400
pesos?
pesos?
Somewhere 950 pesos. I think.
Yeah, so under 1,000 pesos.
That was good. I think it's good enough.
Yeah. And so and Landy mentioned, just in case you missed it, we're talking pretty much all things maintenance of having a house, right? Whether you buy or rent, all the maintenance that comes with it, whether that's daily upkeep as far as keeping it clean, expenses like bills, maintenance costs, kind of everything that goes along with that. And so if you have any questions about that, or really anything else, feel free to leave it while we're live, or even if you're watching this later, feel free to drop a question. And of course, we try to answer as many questions as we can.
Yeah, as we've been living in Mexico over 2 years. Yeah. We rent house before, we own the house before, now we rent house again. So we have some idea about the basic labor costs here.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, like for example, I know sometimes people wonder about whether they should clean the house themselves or hire a housekeeper, because sometimes having a housekeeper, again, as compared to the US, is pretty inexpensive. Now, we don't have that experience here in Mexico City, but we did hire a housekeeper a couple of times back in Queretaro. And I know for our house, which we had in Zakia, was actually, again, what was the square footage? Approximately about 1,200 square feet.
I know the meter is about 140.
Right. So let's say about 1,500 square feet, give or take.
Right.
I think we paid 700 pesos.
7 or 6, I think. I forgot.
I think it was 600 or 700 pesos. Let's say 700 pesos just to be on the safe side. So you're looking at about $38, $40 somewhere in there.
But also we don't hire her regularly.
Right.
Right. Mainly I clean up the house. I'm too stingy to pay people to clean my house. So that's a personal thing. I like to clean by myself.
Sure.
I don't like stranger to touch my stuff. So that's why I do my own housework.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed about it. That's just how I grow up.
Right.
We never hire any housekeeper when I grow up.
Right. So I mean, if you're paying about, let's say again,
600,
let's call it $40, approximately, give or take. But again, you can get a better price if you do hire them on a regular basis.
Right.
They'll drop that price a little bit. But again, back home, I don't know if anybody out there has ever hired a cleaning service or not. I mean, what does that cost back home?
Oh, yeah, very expensive.
Yeah, I know. Did we ever look into it back home? I know if we do a cleaning for one of our houses, like sometimes when they have a clean out, when tenants move in and out, I think they charge us about $120, $140.
Somewhere there.
About $140. For a cleaning, but the house is empty, and so it's just kind of a real quick, cleaning. It's not a real deep cleaning in the sense of there's not furniture and all this kind of stuff. So maybe more or less. And again, this may vary depending on what part of the country you're in. So again, if you have any comments about that, how much it costs back home for a cleaning service or a housekeeper as compared to here in Mexico. Again, about $40 for
maybe 30, somewhere 30. Let's say 635.
Right.
Yeah.
To 700.
Right. Depends on your house size.
Right.
Yeah. They don't charge by hour, but they do just like one day they call.
Right. 3 or 4 hours usually is what it's going to take.
Like when we lived in the Central in Queretaro, we paid, I think it was like 450 pesos. the lady coming every second week.
Right.
Yeah, she took the bus. She said she took at least 2 hours on the bus. She lives really far, and so
and
she
it was
found a
a
job.
slightly smaller place, so that's why we had a little better price.
No, it's not really small. The house
smaller.
Actually is pretty big.
Smaller. And
Central.
Yeah.
It was 150 square meter actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
The house in Zakia felt bigger.
Yeah, it's.
I feel the same way.
I couldn't see the
live chat.
Okay, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel the same way, especially laundry. Please don't touch my stuff. Don't touch my underwear. I feel weird. Yeah.
And actually, I think we never had the housekeepers do our laundry.
No. Yeah, we have wash and a dryer, and I fold my clothes by myself. Yeah. We even we hired the housekeeper. She just do the cleaning.
Right.
Interior,
laundry.
Not even exterior. Right. Interior cleaning. Right. That's how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So anything else? Let's see.
So you can keep the chatting, because I need to start clean my house. So that's the whole theme today.
Yeah. So there's going to be a little bit kind of just live vlog, kind of our daily life as it happens. Maybe get nothing too exciting. We'll talk as we go. Of course, if you have any questions as we kind of go about our day, again, feel free to drop the question.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned our gas bill for here, and again, I'm not too sure. I have to verify with the tenant, with the landlord, how much is ours and how much is theirs, because it started counting for all of November, but we moved in. Oh no, we moved in October, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the bill we got for gas, I'll give you the exact amount. 335 pesos.
Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable.
Right.
As we do cook a lot.
And our water heater is gas.
Yeah, we shower. Louie always had Hollywood shower.
Yeah, Louie loves the Hollywood shower.
Yeah, and then we have a wash and a dryer. They also use the gas.
Right, for the heat.
Especially, the dryer.
Right. So again, we paid 335 pesos. Again, you're looking at about, what, $18, $20, somewhere in that range?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, so about $18 to $20 for our gas here for a month. Again, I don't remember what gas costs back home. I know at our last couple of places, we had electric stoves, right?
Yeah, we never had a gas stove. Your mom's house has a gas stove. We never had.
Yeah, we never had a gas stove. So I know it's a little bit hard to compare.
Maybe, I don't know, $50, $100 for gas.
Right.
60, 70, depends.
So again, if anybody else out there, again, we love information. What are you paying for gas back home? And again, how much gas do you have? Again, do you have a range, or is everything electric in the house? So we're getting our bills in as time goes.
Electricity might be a little bit higher this month.
Yeah, we're expecting the electric bill to be a little bit more.
We only have 2 small heaters.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Mainly for the evening and the morning.
Right. And just so people get an idea here, I can even show you.
Yeah. We have a very small heater. Yeah, as here, no, we don't have the central AC, so it's just small heating system. You can show the one in the bedroom.
Oh yeah,
it's easy to take.
So this is our big space heater for our main living area. And again, that's how a lot of people keep their houses warm in central Mexico. As we've mentioned, and you've probably heard from other people, central Mexico doesn't get too hot. It doesn't get too cold. So a lot of places don't even have central heating or AC. At best, they may have wall units. But most people, like in Queretaro, here in Mexico City, other cities and towns in the same area, they're probably just going to have fans in the summer to kind of keep the air circulating, and small heaters, like I showed you, to kind of keep you warm. And we have a smaller one for our bedroom, and that's really all you need here. Unless you really want some extreme comfort, we tend to find using a fan and a heater quite comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can talk about other bills. Normally, how much we pay for water, electricity.
Well, I don't know. I mean, electricity, what do we pay back home? in Queretaro? Again, I know it's hard to compare. That's why we haven't really received our bills here.
Yeah, Queretaro water bill, I think it's a little bit higher. Maybe we pay $30 a month somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, water was maybe about 30 to 40.
Yeah, because we live in the suburbs, and the suburbs water charge more. When we live in the central, it's cheaper.
Yeah, I can even find out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I know people pay very less on the water if they live in the central. Yeah, living in Zakia, the water is a little bit less.
Yeah.
More difficult. Water pipe, or the fees are higher.
There we go. This is CFE, is the electricity. So our last one we paid in Queretaro was 700 pesos. Let's call it 709.
Yeah, a month.
That's what we paid. That was our last bill.
So it's about quite much, literally $40 for water.
No, this is electric. This is electric. I know I talk about water, but I pulled up the CFE,
okay.
Which is electric. So 700 pesos for electric. Again, that's very good. Now water. Now water. Let's look at gas. So again, once again, electric was 709. NG, which is the gas company. I can get you exact prices here. And also, as we like to ask, what are people back home paying for these types of bills? Again, we know in Texas, electricity was crazy. Our one and only bill in Houston was how much? Like $700-800?
Yeah, don't tell me. I don't want to know. That was pain in the ass. It's like $800. Yeah, and the $800 was nobody living there. The house was empty. But this summer, we know they raised up the electricity bill price. Somehow they want to control the electricity usage. So our bill was $800 for a month. That was crazy. Even we set up the AC to pretty high, was 78.
Something like that.
Yeah, we try to tell the realtor, always keep it high and nobody living there. And I think the whole thing is it's an older house. So all the windows are old, not double layered. And just all the
insulation was
insulation was okay. Probably that's why.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe someone raised up the temperature to 65. I don't know. Who did it? I don't know. We were not there.
Yeah.
But that was just not cool. It's $800. Nobody would be happy with that.
Oh no. So now I have our last gas bill from Queretaro. It was $127 for gas. So again, that's pretty very reasonable. For
how much?
$127. That was for December.
Oh.
Okay, so that was probably our new tenant. So again, that's only one person living in a house. So again, yeah, his gas use is going to be less, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And let's see. I'll look up the last one just to give everybody a good idea what water looks like. Just to give you a general idea of what your basic bills cost. Oh, gotta pay it. So the water for our last bill was $365 in Zakia. So that's back in Queretaro.
Yeah, $365 is good.
Yeah.
Like $20, let's say.
Yeah, it's about $20 for gas. Right.
Still not bad.
So once again, the most expensive bill, 700 pesos for electricity. But again, for electricity as compared to back home, you might pay $700 for electric. Here we paid 700 pesos.
And how much we pay for a babysitter? We find a babysitter.
Oh yeah, and so for anybody who has a family out there and may have kids and want to consider moving to Mexico, we finally got to go out for the first time last Thursday. We found a babysitter. We just asked our neighbor, who's also kind of the representative for our tower, if she knew anybody. Again, that's usually the best way to find things. Always try to find recommendations from locals. So she had you said it was her boyfriend, right? It was her boyfriend's daughter, who's 18, and she had a little bit of babysitting experience before, and we asked, or she's charging us at 80 pesos an hour. So we went out for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went out for 5 hours the other night. So we paid 400 pesos for 5 hours of babysitting. So again, you're looking at about 22, 23 US dollars for 5 hours of babysitting. I know babysitting, they might charge $10, $15, $20 an hour also back in the States.
Maybe you find some neighbor, some teenager, maybe $10, $8 an hour if you can make a bargain deal with them.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I know Louie really enjoyed her. He talked. We met her at the park the first time. Of course, we didn't just go into it blind. We asked if we could meet her at the park so she could meet Louie, see how they got along, see if they could play. Of course, see if Louie liked her and if she, how she interacted with Louie. Yeah, and Louie absolutely, really enjoyed her. Loved playing with her. He was very excited. He was very sad when we left and had to leave her. And pretty much every day he was asking, "Oh, when's my friend coming over? When's my friend coming over? She's my best friend." So he really had a good time with her here. Let's see.
Where's your microphone? We only have one microphone.
I have it on.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Let's see. All right. So just a little feedback on what we've seen so far. No one's ever cleaned my house. Gas is about $60 a month. For the range, heat and dry are gas. Okay. And Michigan. Oh, really? So that's actually not too bad for gas. $60
Yeah.
for gas in Michigan.
Okay. It's not so bad.
Our electric bill is $76 a month. Wow.
How much?
76.
Oh, okay. That's
Wow,
pretty
that's very good.
Pretty reasonable.
And is that true, Cindy? Even in the winter? I mean, is there a reason why electricity is so inexpensive in Michigan? I would assume just because we get so cold.
Yeah,
the heat on.
unless you use the fireplace all the time, or
yeah. And the water bill about $67. Kind of hard to hear us. Do we have our microphones on? Let's check our microphones. Yeah, mine is on.
Yeah, mine is on now. I think maybe before I took it off for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was taking the water.
And we know the lighting's kind of dark. We really have all the lights on in the house right now. That's just kind of the way the house is. So yeah, actually, that's quite surprising.
Yeah, maybe really it depends on the location. I think Texas is very high. Remember once we had a house, the mobile home in Conroe when we were fixing it, and the ex-owner or renter said the water is so high, literally costs $200 a month. And there's a town called Conroe, north of Houston.
Right.
Yeah, because they live in the countryside, so there is no water supply. Only one company supplies them water.
And it was very expensive.
Yeah, that's why the man always takes some water. I said, why he has so many jars? Is the water pipe broken?
Yeah, and that was crazy. That was like something like in the 200s, I think.
Yeah.
For water.
That was really ridiculous.
Because that was countryside living.
Yeah.
For that particular individual. But yeah, I'm really quite surprised to hear that the prices are so low in Michigan. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could. I just don't think I could stand the Michigan winters.
Yeah, so the winter might be all the bills may higher.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Texas boy, a Southerner. In that sense, I'm used to the heat. I don't think I could stand that cold, that much cold, from the north.
Yeah, probably the fireplace works a lot.
Let's see. I feel like lighting is not that great.
Maybe you can, maybe sitting over there on the table, maybe can be better. Oh, you know why? You need to face that way because all the lights came from the window, right? Maybe, yeah. Because that was against the window. That was so bad. Yeah. I think this is much better this way.
Yeah, I think, now we're facing the window. So I think you get a little better light. There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah, I think that's why the lighting here is bad.
I'm going to put this down here.
Yeah, that works. That works.
Yeah. I can sit there.
Sit there, talk.
Yeah. What else do we have? Any other maintenance we do for the house?
Like fixing things.
Yeah.
Once we installed our dishwasher, as dishwasher is not a typical thing here.
All right.
So how much we spend for
I
that?
think that was pretty inexpensive. And that's one of the good things, and I think that's a reason a lot of people come to Mexico is, labor here is you're going to get a much better price. I think to install the dishwasher, and we're talking about
Maybe
knocking down concrete, having to attach the hoses and wiring, and make space in some cabinets. I think it was 800 pesos.
No more than that. Maybe somewhere about 1,500.
Yeah, about.
But that was 2 years ago.
1,500 pesos.
Yeah.
Again, to install a dishwasher. And then we've had them come in and do things like.
A few times about dishwasher that was broken and something connection got issue.
Right, and he came in to do a couple other things. Like I know to do some drilling on the wall.
The TV, he installed the TV.
Yeah, to install the TV and then do some drilling into the walls because again, walls are concrete here. They tend to be concrete in all of Mexico. I think just for that they charge also maybe 200 or 300 pesos.
Yeah.
To come in and drill multiple holes. They had to hang up the towel racks, hang some like little statues and photos we had. And to install the TV stand onto the wall, I think he charged 200-300 pesos. So again, labor costs. You're gonna have small maintenance costs like this whenever you have a house. And I know sometimes in Mexico, again, we obviously can't speak to everyone. Even if you're renting, a lot of times if you want to do things, you just kind of have to do them on your own with the permission of the landlord. Like if we want to hang stuff here, again, we just ask the landlord if it's okay because obviously we're gonna put holes into the concrete. But again, I would expect to pay something like that, just a couple of 100 pesos.
Yeah.
For basic things like to hang stuff up on the walls.
Yeah. I'm pretty reasonable on the labors.
Yeah, I know when we go, like if I go around the corner, I'm just kind of spitballing as things come to my head for labor. If I want to get my car washed and vacuumed, we have a little hand car wash place 30 seconds away from our apartment if I drive there. I think they're charging, the base price is 70 pesos, and that's for a car wash, wax, and vacuum inside, which is, again, exceptional. 70 pesos, again, you're looking at about $4 for a wash, wax, and vacuum. And I think, and then the most expensive one, and if you really wanted to detail it, I think is 120 or 130 pesos, which is a great price. I know when we had a guy come in and do our yard, he came in every other week to cut a yard back in Queretaro. He charged us. You remember how much he charged us? 140?
I don't know.
I think it was 140 or 150 to come every 2 weeks to cut our backyard. And again, that was which is not bad for either one of us. It's a pretty decent price to have somebody come in, cut edge, and take out all the leaf clippings. But for them, because they had all the equipment, they had a mower, a power blower. It would take them. They'd be done in maybe 15 minutes, maybe. So that, it was kind of a win-win on both sides. I think it was a pretty fair price, and for them, it really didn't take them that long. And they would come into our compound, and they would do multiple people. They'd be there for hours. I can imagine they do 7, 8, 10 would be my guess per day. And again, that was just once a week they'd come into our compound. So imagine that multiplied times every day. Multiple compounds across the city, so actually not bad for them either.
Yeah,
pretty decent money.
And how much we paid for? We hired a handyman, which the landlord recommended for the pipe, dryer's pipe. Yeah,
that's right. So we had to attach our gas washer and dryer, and so our landlord recommended a handyman. He came in. I think he charged also 800.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he charged 800 pesos, to do a connection. Because this space wasn't really meant for a double, like a stacked washer and dryer. It has its own dryer where you need the vent to kind of go out to let all the lint out. I guess they expected people to buy the combo, the washer dryer single set, where again, the drying is just electric. There's no really a vent for anything for it to go out, which never dry as good. So he had to come in and kind of set up that connection, and he charged 800 pesos for that, which was not bad because and that was with, I had to take him down to Home Depot to pick up the parts. And so yeah, 800 pesos, not bad. I mean, I can show them.
Yeah, I think the issue is here we find in Mexico City, even I look at other apartment for rents, just look at the pictures. I found that lots of houses apartments, they don't have those additional hole on the wall for their dryer's pipe.
Right.
It's not very common here.
Right. And again, I guess maybe
that's the issue here.
Here, let's show people.
Yeah.
In case you're not too sure what we're talking about. So we got the double stack, right? That's our washer dryer on top, and that's the work he did. He did that pipe up there. That's Louie's little thing, and then to connect it to the outside. So pretty much for all that connection, 800 pesos. Most people just tend to have the one single washer dryer combo on the bottom. Let's see if anybody's. Yeah. Labor, I think, is one of the main reasons people love to come to Mexico.
Yeah, but that's also related to another topic. Like some people like to ask about, what about buy some rental here, lease it as an investment? Yeah, I always tell people the pro is the labor cost is low.
Right.
Like there's really no roof and no central AC. So these are the two main costs of our rentals.
Yeah.
It's always something broken.
Leaks and AC. Always
yeah, you know better. So if you are the landlord here, the two parts, you really can save lots of maintenance.
Right. Yeah. If you look at the numbers on the surface, you may seem like it's a better investment in the U.S. as far as like a return. But again, you always have to take your maintenance into consideration. So like Landy said, the maintenance here, the big things, right?
Yeah, and also the property tax is very low because the property tax are not deductible for every year's tax return.
Right.
So
I think last year.
And insurance is also very low. Housing insurance.
If you get insurance, right?
Right. Like
I think last year for our house in Zakia, we paid a little over 10,000 pesos for the year. That was our yearly taxes. So again, you're looking at about $500-600 for the yearly tax for owning a home here in Mexico. And again, that was our particular house in Queretaro. Again, prices may vary depending from state to state, but I will pay $500-600 for property tax any day. So that's one of the good things about if you do own a house here, property tax maintenance, whether you own it for yourself or whether you want to own it for an investment property, you're not going to have as much maintenance to worry about. Now that may change, especially for things like AC when you get closer to the coast, right? Obviously the beaches are going to be a lot hotter, and AC tends to be a necessity in those areas, unless you're really okay with very hot and humid areas. From what I've heard, you may pay about $100, maybe a little bit more on average. And again, that's not from personal experience. That's just from things we've seen online. But again, paying $100 for living in a beach area where you're probably going to use the AC quite a bit more often, in our opinion, is still much more reasonable. So again, it all kind of just going to vary on where you live. Let me get some tea.
But one thing we need to say is I also find out, like you renting here or as a homeowner in anywhere central Mexico, I found that the HOA is pretty high. It's just like you live in the condo or own a condo in the US, the HOA monthly fee is pretty high. Single family, like we own a single family, they're much lower. They're not in the gated community. So averagely maybe about 400 to 500 a year.
Right.
But here, like monthly, it's about $80.
Well, that's what we paid, which is one of the more expensive
exactly,
ones.
And this one's also high. It's included in the rent.
How much was it?
Yeah, I think that's about 2,500.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I found most, like those nicer condo, which has the security downstairs, cleaning ladies for the public areas,
right.
And then there's an elevator. Then we have a gym. We have a pool. Sure, yeah, that's averagely about easily 1,000 to 3,000 a month as a maintenance if you live in Mexico City,
right.
for a little bit nicer grade condo.
Right, and again,
and it's included in the rent.
Right, it's included.
But some places they charge you a rent, like then they put maintenance
not included.
Not included. You have to pay.
Right.
Tenants pay for it.
Right.
So it's the same.
Yeah, so it kind of
Yeah.
comes out. Yeah, right. So yeah, we paid $1,500 in Queretaro for the condo area. For that, we had a lot more green space, which again included the gym, the pool, and the groundskeeping. Here you're talking about, right? They keep the interior clean with a housekeeping crew, the pool and gym. I said 2,500.
Yeah.
So again, we're looking at about 100 and
about 140.
about $140
Yeah,
a month.
but still, you think about the condo HOA in the U.S. As I know, I don't know everywhere, but in Houston area, I look at that number is always easily 250. Someplace 450. Some like by the Herman Park, they have those high building. You look at the condo price. Oh, not bad. 200K in the skyscraper has an elevator, swimming pool. Then you look at the HOA, $950 or $1,100 a month.
Really?
For HOA, and I said, oh, that's why the sale price is low.
Right.
But also monthly, or the additional $800 to $1,200 you pay for HOA.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's it. It is very expensive. It's like how much they really charge for the elevator. Yeah, you have an elevator, sure, but
plus if you have like hundreds upon hundreds of people living there.
Then in Houston, there's some single family, which in the gated community has a nice lagoon. That's a new thing now in Houston, and their HOA fee maybe like $1,800 somewhere, as I remember right, a year. But still not so bad. You have a lagoon you can use.
Yeah,
maybe not gated. Maybe not gated. Yeah, not the most. I think most community in Houston are not gated.
Right. But I think they're paying for lifeguards and stuff like that.
Yeah,
which makes sense. But still,
But here, but compared to here, I mean, Mexico levels income, this is pretty high.
If you do compare to incomes and the areas that people are staying for that kind of level, right? Based on income, sure, it is pretty expensive here for the HOA. And while we're on HOAs here can be a pain in the butt, just like anywhere else. They have their good purposes, but they can definitely be just a thorn in your side. I can even speak to something that's happening to us right now. In our apartment building, again, I don't know if this is true for every place in Mexico City. They actually charge you a deposit for moving in, right? And which is only when the movers come in or while you're moving your furniture. And of course, they say that deposit in case you break anything, hit any walls, blah, blah, for anything that might happen while you're moving in big pieces of furniture. Here it's 5,000 pesos. So two things I can say about that. You understand, okay, they want a deposit to take care of anything you may break. Okay, no problem. 5,000 pesos is about $270. Now, after, and they said, okay, we'll return your deposit after you move in. Okay, we moved in October 20th. And that was the same day that we had the movers come in. And then just life went on, things happened. After about a month or so, I was like, wait a minute, how come we haven't gotten our deposit back? So then I went to go talk to the security, the administration, which is the HOA, I guess you could call it. And they were saying that, oh, well, you needed to come tell us and let us know that you were done moving. I was like, well, how long does it take to move in? If I were moving in on the 20th, common sense should say we're done. Just, return the money. So anyway, not notwithstanding, I said, okay, well, we're done. Can I get my deposit back? Okay, but we only return money between the 30th and the 15th. And that's what we do returns, and we'll give you your cash back. And this was also roughly about the 15th or 20th of November. So, okay, I'll wait another 2 weeks, and I'll get my money back on the 30th or the very beginning of December. Well, here we are, December 6th, and I've pretty much been asking them every day since the 30th. Okay, today's 30th. Can I get my deposit back? Well, you have to come back and you'll get a check. Okay, that was on a Friday. Go back Monday. All right, I'm here. Oh no, we couldn't. I forgot the excuse they gave me. Couldn't do it. But we can also do a deposit. Can you just send us a WhatsApp with your account information and we'll just deposit it? Okay, this is all my information. I sent the lady the WhatsApp information right there. She had it open on her desk, and she said, okay, yeah, I see it. Rodolfo Trevino. This is your number. Yep, that's me. Okay, no problem. Monday or Tuesday, we'll get it to you. Still haven't received it. Now I've been down every single day talking to another gentleman. What's going on? And again, so like a lot of things in Mexico, and we've talked about this on other podcasts with other guests as well. Don't expect things to be done continually on a timely manner.
Especially come to money.
Especially when it comes to money.
Yeah. Took
They're
forever.
quick to take it, but very slow to return it. And we had the same situation when we put the money down on an apartment that we thought we were going to buy for an investment thing, and then we couldn't. And so to get that money back took literally weeks and weeks to get that money back, and constant hounding them. And so that's kind of what it's been here. Every day I've gone since the 30th. That's not a weekend. And and just like we've talked about as well, it always seems to be, oh yeah, today or tomorrow, and it's never gotten done. So anyway, long story short, now I talked to them today. They said that there was a mistake with the number. They said that the number they put in, my account number, the name that came up wasn't the same as ours, which to me is kind of weird because I only have one account and it's only me. So anyway, the gentleman said, okay, we're sorry. We'll cancel the check and we'll give you cash tomorrow. So just come back tomorrow, 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll have the cash, no check, no deposit, just come, we'll give you the cash tomorrow. Let's see if that happens.
Let's see if that's true.
Let's see if it's true. Let's see if it's another mañana story.
Yeah, and another thing is because we are changing HOA, they are changing HOA. So I think maybe they're playing game with us because once they leave, you will not find them anymore.
Right.
And in your HOA will not know the story.
Right.
We didn't own you.
Right. Yeah, we got a notice last week that this administration is leaving. Right. So, and they're leaving on the 20th. Today we're the 5th. So we have literally 2 weeks to try to get them to give us our money back, or else, like you said, it's going to be our word against theirs. But we don't know that they didn't give you the money back, and we can see that whole story coming. So that could be a dangerous situation as well. Okay. So that's just some of the fun of daily life here. Let me see. Oh, we just got a question here. Sorry, let me see. When you are PV. Hey, Gloria. So what Gloria said is we need to check our contract because sometimes that the deposit will stay with the administration until you move out. Again, that was not part of the contract. When we moved in, we had the Jurídica and the lawyers come in and they went over the whole entire contract. They read it out. We were here with the attorney, the landlord, and ourselves to sign. They went over the contract word by word, and they never mentioned anything about the deposit, even to the point where when we were told about the deposit, even the landlady, the property owner, was a little bit surprised by that because she was never told anything about a deposit to move in. And when we talked to administration, it was made very clear, through the WhatsApp. So again, this is all documented on WhatsApp. It's not our word against theirs. That when you move in, as soon as you're done, you will have your money returned to you. But that is a good point. Just like anything, when it comes to anything legal or contracts, do check your contract thoroughly. As I mentioned, luckily for us, it wasn't just us and the landlord. We did have the attorneys here present, make sure everything was on the up and up. Again, that's part of the reason that you pay for the Póliza Jurídica, is to make sure everyone is taken care of on our side and the landlord's side. So that's a good point, Gloria. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
And Cindy mentioned if we noticed anything when we were in Puerto Vallarta, did we notice, did humidity affect anything on the inside? Like inside the property we stayed at, the Airbnb?
Yeah.
Not really.
We only stayed for 1 month.
Right, we stayed for 1 month.
Yeah. And then only the last one is very close to the beach. The other one we stayed in the romantic zone. It's about 4 minutes walk to the beach.
Right. Now I will say this: we stayed in 3 places.
Yeah.
The first place, also close to the beach, that was a place we had an issue with.
About 8 minutes to the beach.
Maybe, right?
There.
Walking. Yeah, maybe walking.
Yeah.
So really only a couple of blocks to the beach. That one was older. That is the one we had issues with. Now, again, I think we did see things like mold in the bathroom. A lot of the plaster was peeling off the walls. And again, this is one of the issues we had. Again, the pictures that they put up did not represent the current state of the Airbnb. Again, I'm not an expert on that type of situation and how the plaster stays up. Could the humidity have played a role in the plaster peeling off? My assumption would be yes. That things get moldy and wet, they can peel off.
Yeah.
The second place we stayed at was much newer. So I would say to that we really didn't notice any effects on the interior of the house because it was a brand new. I think they were still working on it.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were literally one of the first people to stay in that particular Airbnb. So I don't think we had enough time, or that building had been around long enough to see any long-term effects of humidity. And then the last place, which was a condo, which obviously had been there for a while, I think it was just very well maintained. Again, it was also a condo, so they probably pay good money for the HOA. And being an Airbnb, I think a good Airbnb host is going to take good care of the property because reviews and ratings are how they make their money. So as far as I would say, that Airbnb right on the beach was also very clean and didn't see any effects, I would say, by the humidity. I think there was an issue with the curtains, but I don't think that was because of humidity.
But what I heard a story, once we got a comment from a man, he lives really close to the beach and he owned the property. And he put a comment like, yeah, I'm so regretted I bought the property right on the beach. And because he said my AC got ruined just by the humidity, it's all the ocean wind, anything.
That was here?
In Mexico, yes. And he said somewhere of his house, the beam, maybe he's very close to the beach, and also got ruined. So he spent a lot of maintenance fee, is what I understand. So he don't want to own any property right up by the beach.
Right, yeah, because you're going to have all that that
never be
saltwater mist and wind coming off and just kind of constantly, hitting your property.
Also your TV, if you have any electronic things. And also what I understand is if you really rent a place there or you own a property by the beach, it's very humid and hot, change the AC units. It might be at the beginning, it's a little bit higher investment, but for the long run, you can save some electronic bills. That's what I heard a couple live in Cabo, they talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's why they only spend $20 on the electricity bill every month. They own the property, they change all the AC when they moved in. And also probably the double layer windows, the insulation. Yeah, if you own the property, do it. If you rent it, maybe you want to check better how old is the AC units.
Right.
What is the insulation? Like the property we rented as an Airbnb in Puerto Vallarta, there's even no window units in the living area. And the window are very old. I don't like those old windows. Even when we rented in Mexico City, I just look at the picture. I said, look at the window. That's old. What that tells me, I'm going to pay more electricity bills.
Right.
Especially here, it's cold in the winter.
Right, and it's going to cause, if they're not double pane. And I think just to be clear, what she talked about when they're old is that they're not double pane. They're that old single pane style.
Like very old. You can't even see those kind of push out. You can see those bar style. It's very popular here.
Right.
Even in some apartment buildings.
Right.
It's kind of popular.
And so again, that's going to make things colder in the winter like now. Even now we're kind of facing that. We were talking about that this morning. It's one of the other things. Because in our bedroom, it's kind of similar to our living room. If y'all saw it earlier in the video, our living room is going out to the balcony. It's just kind of like a window wall, and it's a door on two sides. It's pretty much the whole wall is just a window. It's the exact same thing in our bedroom, and our bed is right next to that window. And so at night when it gets a little bit cold, it does tend to be or feel a little bit colder. We were just talking about that in Queretaro. We never really even used the heater in the winter. We just put our sheets on, and we were both fine and never really felt uncomfortable. I think here, even when it's maybe not quite as cold, it just feels colder.
Yeah, I think it's another lesson I learned. If you rent in Mexico City or anywhere can be a little bit cold or hot in the summer, like most places. So make sure your bedrooms, living room may be okay, but the bedrooms doesn't have the big sliding door, because most windows are single layer.
Right.
So make it evening and really cold. Summer might be hot.
We can show them also.
Right, you can show just right here, but that's I think I learned another lesson.
Make sure you understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
So again, what we're talking about, just like in the living room, this is our bedroom. And so I know we have the curtains down, but the whole wall is window, right? And so that makes it a little bit cooler at night.
Yeah.
So, and again, when you first walk in and you're looking at the apartment, to decide whether you're going to rent or not, it always seems like such a nice feature. Oh, it's so pretty, and it does. As Cindy mentioned at the beginning, when we look this way, things look kind of dark, but when we turn, it makes things a lot brighter. So when you walk in, it makes the living space a lot more bright, and it seems a lot more open, and especially for a place like we got. We ended up getting a little bit smaller place, so it does help make it seem a little bit bigger. But what we learned is that when it starts getting cold, then it can be an issue at night to try to help keep the bedroom warm. So that's a little small tip you may want to consider. Let's see, and I did see another question here. Let me see if I can get to that question. This is also from Gloria. And Gloria says, my sister is a landlord there, and she asked for 1 month deposit of rent as deposit to be returned when the tenants move out to cover any wear or tear during the lease. Yes, and that's common. We asked when we rented out our own place, we asked for the same thing, and it was asked of us also, right? So when you move in, it is 1 month deposit and 1 month's rent, to move into the property. So again, that 5,000 peso deposit was asked from administration, right? Not the landlord herself, which again, we all kind of found a little bit odd, but again, we're not sure if that's common here in Mexico City or not, or just maybe particular to this administration or a few out here. So we're really not too sure about that. In a second, let's try to do something here. Where is your sister a landlord? In what city, Gloria? If I may ask. There we go. I see myself there. Trying to see if I can see our questions a little bit easier. Okay. Yeah, being a landlord here is a little bit interesting. Again, we thought we'd try that. As we mentioned in one of our other videos, I don't know if that's come out yet, or I think we talked a little bit about it. Off of the city. Oh, also here in Mexico City. Okay, interesting, nice. When we did try, again, leasing our property, again, we had to go through all that different aspects. Again, we learned something new as far as being a landlord here in Mexico, and what that takes, and again, little things that weren't true like in Texas when we're landlords. Like one of the big things we noticed when you are a landlord here or tenant is a lot of times if you break the contract, there's a penalty. It can be, usually it's between 1 or 2 months you're going to have to pay of rent when you break the lease, right? Whether you're the tenant or like if you're the landlord and you need your tenant to move out for whatever reason, you're going to have to pay them whatever is stipulated in the contract, 1 month or 2 months of rent, kind of as a grievance or severance. So it's something to consider, because I know we actually did that our first time when we had our first apartment in Queretaro, and we ended up buying our property. We had to move out a month or two, and we actually had a little bit of a dispute about this with our real estate agent, because something like that to us would have been very noticeable. Because again, back in Texas, understanding that things in Texas and the U.S. Texas and Mexico are very different, we understand that. But being landlords, that is not common. You never hear about someone having to pay a fee if they break the lease. Usually, they just keep the deposit, and that's kind of it. That's the payment. Here, you have to pay again those 1 or 2 months on top of that. And again, it wasn't a contract, but to us, our realtor didn't explain that to us when we signed. And again, this is another thing, another reason why you understand why it's good to have the Póliza Jurídica. Because when we talked about it here with the attorneys present, it was very clear that they mentioned it. So no problem. We understand that that's the way it is. Fine. But so one thing to be aware of, if you are coming to Mexico to lease, right, or you end up buying a house that you want to use as a rental, again, this is something that you can put in place to kind of protect yourself and get a little bit of grievance pay if someone breaks the lease one way or the other, right? Let me see what else we have here. Just looking at some of our questions, everything else has popped up.
Yeah, I think another thing maybe you want to tell people about the realtors, they don't get paid if this rent is under what here is 25,000.
Right.
So they don't even get paid.
Right.
So
that's something. Correct, and which is a good point. When you come here, and something we didn't know, we heard a little bit about this when we worked in Queretaro, but luckily we didn't. It didn't affect us that time. And again, this is going to vary from city to city because what are kind of the standards of that city. So here we kind of found out, our limit was roughly about 20 to 25,000 pesos is what we're looking for our budget. And we had a realtor help us at the beginning, and we gave her, we gave her a list of properties we were interested in and areas we were interested in. And she said, okay, let me call these places and let me see if I can set up appointments. And also let me make sure that they're willing to split the commission. And so kind of what we found out was when you're kind of under that threshold of, let's say, 20, 25, maybe even 30,000, a lot of realtors are not willing to split the commission with a tenant's agent, right? So that's something you have to take into consideration, because if you're coming here and you're expecting a realtor or agent to help you, they may not, because a lot of these places say, well, I'm not going to take you because they're not willing to spend the commission, to split the commission. So I guess there could be a couple of workarounds if you're willing to pay the agent yourself to show you these places, and you can agree upon a fee. You can agree upon the fee if you need to, or just maybe set up a flat fee, or maybe you just pay them to kind of read the contract. These could be ways you could kind of work around that. Because the way it's going to end up being, if it's under a certain price, is you're going to have to go and look yourself. And so that has to also you have to take that into consideration, especially if your Spanish skills aren't that great, because you're going to deal with agents who are representing the landlord, and again, don't expect them to speak English. So you may want to have somebody who can help you, whether it's a friend. Like I said, worst case, pay the agent yourself. That's something a lot of people may not consider because it's very different back in the US. It always tends to be paid by the landlord, or if you're buying, it always tends to be paid for by the seller. So something to consider when you're moving here, whether you're buying or renting. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing in Querétaro. I forgot what the limit was, or where kind of that bottom threshold was, maybe 20,000, 15,000 in Querétaro.
I think, the realtor we know.
Oh, it's about 10,000, right?
Yeah, she said it like 10,000.
Yeah. Because in Querétaro, it's not unreasonable to find a pretty decent place for 10,000 pesos. But again, when you start getting to around 10, 15,000 pesos in Querétaro, a lot of agents who are representing the landlord aren't going to be willing to split that. Because again, the realty landscape here is much different. Again, they're not really regulated. Like realtors here, they're not regulated by the government. Like in the US, again, I'm a realtor. I belong to HAR, which is the kind of the Houston Association, and then we're connected to NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, which we have our guidelines that we have to follow. So again, this can be a little bit of a sticky situation for people when you're dealing with a realtor here, because again, they're not really guided by any guidelines. So that being said, again, you don't know, are they honest? They don't have to share commissions. And again, obviously these things can happen anywhere, but when you're not regulated by the government, you just have to be a little extra aware of that. Who you're dealing with. So make sure you get a reputable real estate agent. Always ask for recommendations, or maybe work with a well-represented company. Like I know there's one around here that we've seen. I think it's called a Tecnocasa. They're kind of a nationwide, I believe, agency. So you may want to deal with companies like this, where they've been well established. I think you can also find some U.S. brokers here. I know like Century 21, Berkshire Hathaway, and a few others. So you would hope and believe that these companies would tend to hire people who are going to be a little more honest and kind of follow good guidelines. So something to be aware of when you're considering buying or renting here in Mexico. Let me see what else is going on here. Any other questions, comments? Again, so far so good. Let me see if anything pops up here. Villa Guapa. Oh, so your sister's property is in Villa Guapa. Am I saying that right? Not too sure about that particular area. Let's see. Okay. And I'm not watching TV. I'm looking at our live stream online where I can read any questions that may pop up a little easier. Oh, another fee that you may run across. Again, I just saw our dog sleeping. For those who may be coming to Mexico with pets, is pet care, right? These are things you're going to have to pay for. And again, this goes back to our talk about labor. So maintenance of pets is pretty reasonable. If you want, like, we have schnauzers, which again, these dogs don't shed, so you have to have them groomed, combed, shaved. For each one, we've been quoted about 250 pesos for a pretty much full service grooming, which again, shaving, ears, any other glands that need to be squeezed, and the trimming of their skirt, and that costs about 250 to 280 pesos. So again, you're looking at under $15, right? Yeah, but let's call it $15 for a grooming. Again, you would never find that back in the U.S. Veterinary care, very inexpensive. I have to take our dog there. I think for her initial fee, initial exam, it's only 350 pesos. Again, you're looking at about less than $20 to get a dog examined. Which again, if you're walking into a vet in the US, you're probably looking at $60, $80 just for the initial fee. And that's probably baseline. I'm sure in some places it's going to be a lot more expensive. So something to consider if you have pets. Do we plan on renting or buying here in CDMEX, in Mexico City? That's a question asked by Cindy. I would say as of now, we are probably going to continue to rent. Because we are selling our house in Queretaro, right? And this is something we heard about before, so we were kind of aware of. The process here is a little bit slower in general. You would almost expect maybe at best case scenario, about 6 months to sell a house, maybe to a year, give or take. Of course, there's always exceptions. One of the exceptions we know was a gentleman, Bill, we did an interview with. He sold his house on the first viewing, right? So, congratulations to him. That's awesome. But with the caveat that he had a custom built home, as compared to ours, which is more the standard kind of mass-produced homes in areas that are already growing. So I think that helped him. But so would we buy again? My initial feeling, and I don't know, Landy, if you want to jump in on this, would be probably not. We'll probably continue to rent for quite a while. Mainly because we wouldn't want to have to go through the issue of buying, and more importantly, selling. On the back end, if we ever decided to leave Mexico City or Mexico or whatever the future may hold. So I think right now, the best case scenario for us is just to kind of continue renting, whether it's here or anywhere else we go. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Good feedback.
Yeah, I agree, but sometimes I'm just curious. Like last night or 2 nights ago, I was just looking at a video about Cabo and what else, the La Paz, and of course some other video pop out, like the realtor talk about the property there. The older man selling a very nice house, had a big yard for $120K US. La Paz.
Oh, yeah.
So I was so curious. And okay, so what's the price there? And I went to the website, the Umbrella24.com, and I just started searching. They even not in the listing there, but you get some basic idea. And then once you search for it, they keep sending me emails. So every time I open my email, I saw there's a property for you that what's that? And just click it.
And how much? I know you saw one for
I saw one property in Cabo has a beautiful view of all the arcs. If it's right, it's a pre-sale. They show me a picture, I can see the arcs. If it's true, that will start from 4.6 mil. So that's about 250K.
250K.
But if you can get a nice view and a bigger apartment, I think it need at least 80 square meter.
Do you remember how big that one was?
That was pretty big, not small, not like 40 square meters still.
Oh, okay.
But just get an idea, sometimes I saw that, it's like, maybe one day.
Yeah, sometimes when you see those prices, you're like, oh, it's so good.
Like last time we saw in the, where was that? Like Huachuco. And I was like, okay, maybe we can invest a winter stay, Airbnb, or Playa de Carmen. Oh yeah, and also the Puerto Escondido in Oaxaca state. And I saw some property like, oh, that's good price. Like for the condo was like 70K pesos. So after closings nowadays exchange rate, so you look at, okay, 40 or 45,000 can all in. I can get a small, it's not big, like 60 square meter. But that has a swimming pool. I don't know what the HOA costs.
Right. And that close to the beach.
20 minutes drive to the beach. And then I checked it on the Airbnb. I saw that same condo apartment, $40 or $42 a night. So, okay, not bad. Not bad. Someone gonna get it. Someone can stay there. But it's just some in our back mind. If something small, like we said, maybe just cash buy something not higher price. Maybe, maybe within 1 mil, 1.5 mil. Depends.
Right.
You know, how big we need for our vacation.
Right. So I say.
Yeah.
Initially, we probably won't rent ourselves, but I think even. Yeah, just to kind of clarify, I guess this would be more for like investment. I don't think we'd ever want to live there full time.
No, it's more like if you want to get away for 1 month.
And have it as an Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnb, that's our own stuff. You know, we don't need to pay high amounts on the Airbnb. It's always they charge a lot.
Right. Because I know, just again, to kind of get off topic but stay on topic, we were looking to go away for about a month.
Yeah. It's not cheap.
In Puerto Escondido?
Yeah.
And Playa de Carmen.
Puerto Escondido, you don't even have many choices. It's a small town.
Right.
Most apartments are very old, even no AC. Then we say, oh, what about the Playa de Carmen or Cancun? Cancun, you can find by the beach, of course, it's more expensive.
Right. I think like the best one we saw in Playa de Carmen, as far as price wise, it wasn't close to the beach either. It was still a good distance. I think that was $1,300 for all. No, not them. That was, remember I showed you the one that was like pretty nice. It was $1,300 before you go to the final line. So you still have to pay for the taxes and cleaning fee. So maybe you're looking at 1,500 pesos. Yeah. Excuse me, $1,500 for Playa de Carmen, and that's for a month. So again, but if you were to buy a place for, like I said, $60,000, $70,000, and then you could rent it out the rest of the year through Airbnb and actually kind of offset that cost, and then go stay there for a month or two whenever you wanted to. That might be the better way to go. Yeah.
And we also found was the Puerto Morelos, which is between the Playa de Carmen. Hi, bye. Oh, he's leaving?
Leaving.
Oh, bye, Cindy. Have a good day. That was the Puerto Morelos. I found it one of the best price. Right on the beach, or closer to the beach, on the beach side.
Oh, Puerto Morelos.
Yeah, was somewhere 1,200 a month.
Was that all in? Or before?
Maybe all in would be 13, 14.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna check that with a tax, Airbnb service fee.
Right.
One of the places was crazy. Cleaning fee $600.
Maybe they messed up and made 600 pesos.
Yeah, maybe, but that was ridiculous. Who charged $600 for maybe peso? I don't know.
I want to believe it's a mistake that it had to be pesos.
Oh,
So yeah, as far as Mexico City, going back to the original question, probably going to rent for a long time. I don't imagine us buying, but again, it's just always that thing. I think it's just in our blood. Like even just walking around, we always see houses and apartments for sale. Like, oh, this one's for sale. I'm curious. It looks nice. The house. I'm curious how much that costs. I think the smart thing to do though would be just continue to rent, mainly because, like I said, on the back end, it's always kind of hard to sell, like we're experiencing right now in Queretaro. But we've only had it on the market for what, month and a half?
Yeah.
So not too long. So maybe we're being a little bit sensitive.
Next June.
Yeah, if we're lucky, we'll have it closed again. If we're lucky, and we even have the price set a little bit lower to try to make it more attractive for people to buy. But the process is still going to take some time. Yeah, I think for us, the smart thing to do if we came into any money would be, and we want to buy any more investment properties, even though we just talked about it, and we may seem like we're talking out both sides of our mouth that maintenance is better here. I think long term, it would be better for us to continue to buy rental properties back in Texas or in Houston.
Yeah, I think there's always pro and cons, but for the long run, appreciation, cash flow,
tax benefits.
Here also have tax benefits.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know all, but you can deduct all the maintenance, realtor fees.
But we just talked about maintenance and realtor fees.
But I know
maintenance fees is almost nothing.
The maintenance was low anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. So your maintenance is going to be like a couple $100. Oh, a big tax break. What I pay in a year in Mexico for maintenance might be what I pay in 1 or 2 trips in Houston for one house.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to sell that.
All right. Let's see. Gloria, I think you asked something else first.
Who else coming?
Oh, check Tulum. This is all from Gloria. Check Tulum. Yeah, we've never really looked into Tulum.
Tulum to buy investment property?
Right.
Oh yeah, I know a lady. She just bought one and made a YouTube video. But she bought one about $200K US, about 4 million pesos, but mainly for her.
Okay.
To stay for the winter. She's from Canada. Yeah, that can be something, but also the price also getting higher.
Right.
And I know for 100K, what do you get? A studio, 30 square meter studio.
Yeah, I think you said, Gloria, you are buying a property there in Tulum. I mean,
yeah.
If I saw the question correctly, you said check Tulum. Does that mean you are buying there? Do you have experience?
I can open my iPad.
Okay.
I'll have to jump around.
Yeah, I'm trying to see them here, but they disappear because this is not our channel. So Tulum, and then also we just heard kind of mixed things about Tulum itself. One, it can be very crowded and expensive.
For investment.
For investment, okay, but for staying, right?
Yeah, for staying, no.
Right.
For maybe short term, but I know that Tulum only have 2 dirt roads.
Right, and I know they're working to improve it.
Right, they're going to be an airport supposed to be.
And it just opened. I saw somebody posted like the Tulum airport like just opened like a day or 2 ago, if I'm not mistaken. And then of course they're gonna have the Maya the train running through there, if I'm not mistaken. So all this will help. So yeah, in the long term, you're probably right about maybe Tulum because it is so popular. But again, would I want to stay there? Probably not, even though I know it's very pretty.
Yeah, I know Tulum is very pretty there.
Oh yeah, we are buying there next year, right?
Yeah, Tulum is very pretty and good for investment, I think.
Right.
But I don't know all the numbers. Don't count on me. What do you call a good investment? What's the return on investment?
Sure.
So yeah.
And also, I think you have to consider a question you need to ask yourself: is the market becoming flooded? Because it's so popular and so many people are buying investment properties there. And I think a lot of people are kind of have the same idea. Buy a property there, they can use it as a getaway, and then they can also rent it the rest of the year. You also don't want to be in an area that's kind of over flooded, because then you really have to work, I think, to make your property stand out. Is there enough people going there to fill the properties, year round?
What's the occupation rate?
Right. What's occupation
low season and high season? Right.
Now, if you're okay with that, I mean, some people, like I said, for some people, they may not care. Like as long as they have their property, as long as they get a little bit of money back and they have a place to stay for their 1 or 2 months, they want to stay there, then it may not be a big deal. But as a total investment, yeah, you have to look at occupation rates. Again, is the market becoming flooded? Obviously, right now the prices are rising. But again, is there ever going to be a point where it's going to get capped? Because again, there's so much inventory that people have to start actually lowering the prices.
But you look at the airport, and that's the thing. That means more amount of tourists will go there instead of take a bus from Cancun Airport.
Yeah, and the train.
Right,
so,
and the train.
Yeah. So again, in our very unprofessional opinion, I think maybe for the short, medium term, it could be a good investment to check out Tulum.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, right. Another Tulum has the tourist part and the residential parts. I don't know where Is Gloria going to buy there?
Yeah, in
Oh,
Tulum.
okay. Which part that you are going to buy, Gloria? The tourist area or the residential, the local area?
Right. And then also Gloria mentioned, Puerto Escondido is very nice and perfect, low price and beautiful. We definitely have to agree with that.
Key.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more popular. Actually, that's one of the places we're talking about going next. It's still slightly hidden, because of things on YouTube and people making
Not the backpackers.
videos and backpackers.
Yeah,
It is. I think it is slowly gaining in momentum as far as popularity. It's kind of the alternative to the Maya Riviera. So again, now it could be one of those things. It could be a good time still to get into Puerto Escondido and the Oaxacan coast, because again, you could see a lot of growth coming. And I think those areas are also kind of protected by the government.
Yeah.
In the sense of they're really trying to push money into that area to make it a kind of tourist area for nationals and international tourists alike.
I know what Huacuco is. I'm not so sure Puerto Escondido is also the nature protected by the government. I don't know. I only know Huacuco, that's for sure.
Okay. And I just figured, yeah. So Gloria's looking in the tourist area, and again, just like most people, right, to live for a couple of months and to rent while we're not there. So, are you looking to put it through on the Airbnb platform or use a local realtor? How are you looking to rent your property? I guess I would assume short term. The rest of the time would be my assumption. And so, while you're answering that, Gloria, if you don't mind, Gloria also asked, what other assets do we invest in? So for us, it's pretty much purely real estate.
Real estate,
right?
Residential.
Yeah.
So far,
right?
No commercial.
No commercial yet.
Yeah.
That may be the only other thing we kind of jump into. We've never been big into the stock market. Yeah, short term. We've never been big into the stock market. Again, it's never really been our thing. As far as things like 401ks.
I can go there.
Okay. As far as things like 401ks, again, I just had my teacher retirement, which is very small, which actually we used to buy a property with.
Yeah.
Right. And then obviously with Landy never living here in the U.S., never had a full-time job. So like things like 401ks, all those investments, that's never been our thing. We feel much more comfortable with real estate because it's something we've studied. It's something we've invested our time into. And it feels, at least to us, I know there's going to be people out there who disagree. It feels a lot safer to us. Even with, I know the number one thing people are going to say as far as risk with real estate is, the 2008 crash and the crash that everybody is kind of talking about right now. That's coming. Oh, the crash is coming. With inflation and the markets being the way they are, that everyone listen to all the experts. They all feel that the crash is coming very soon.
It's not really coming.
That's what I've heard.
No, yeah, that's everyone on the YouTube. They like to have an eye-catching.
The doom and gloom. I know Robert Kiyosaki
always talk about the crash, this, that, all the disaster coming. No, it's not really crashing. All the prices still, we're not talking about the national. We just talk about the Houston market. It's still steadily going up.
It's still steady, right.
Yeah, dropped. Yeah, sure. What do you compare to? You compare to the COVID time? Sure, it's dropped. COVID time was not.
That was an overcorrection.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was just over.
Right.
Median price goes up.
Right.
But you look at like Austin market.
Now that could crash.
Yeah, it crashed, but not really crash. It dropped. Sure, it dropped more because during the COVID time, the price goes up a lot, much more than Houston.
Right. Well, I think I'm talking about what people are predicting in the very near future. Right.
Future.
That again, another crash is coming. But the point I was really trying to get at is, as a good investor, one of the terms you always hear people talk about is you make your money when you buy, right? I think where a lot of people get into trouble is they buy at the market value, right? And they use it as speculation. They're kind of using those parameters as to try to use it as an investment. Yeah. We've been pretty fortunate, and again, this is why we studied it. We've always bought our properties well below market value. So I would say any of our properties that we have back in Texas, even if we were to have a crash, and for whatever reason we had to emergency sell one of our properties, I would almost guarantee that any one of our properties we could still turn a profit on, right? If we had to sell. Of course, our goal is not to sell. Now, the thing that we like is because, again, where we bought and what our mortgage payments are, our rents are always are always there. And again, we have enough space, enough, I guess what you call it, cash flow, how much we pay and how much we receive in rent, that even if there was to be a minor collapse in rentals, the price, even though it's not likely, we would still be okay. We would still be receiving cash flow constantly. I don't think we'd ever go negative. I think it'd have to be a real bad crash.
Yeah.
You know,
because our house is all the range. It's still in the lower part.
Right. I would say we're kind of like mid-low.
Yeah, mid-low.
Like middle level and low.
Yeah.
So even if people, I think also sometimes people like to buy these nicer homes, and again, I'm using Houston as an example, maybe 2,000, 2,500. Now, again, if there was to be some kind of economic situation where people were to lose jobs and on a vast scale, then again, those people, right, they might drop into our level, right? And so I think we're still in a pretty safe space. What we tend to look for is 3 to 4 bedrooms, kind of very blue, white collar areas, no bigger than maybe 1,500 square feet. And so again, we kind of buy in a very safe space.
Yeah, we're very clear with our buying criteria.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the one thing. And we always buy. My goal is always I have at least 15% equity when I bought it.
Right. So again, that would that would kind of go into where if there was a crash, it had to be a big crash. It had to drop way down for us to lose.
And don't buy something higher that people have too much ego. Oh, I don't want to buy those like a lower income neighborhood.
Those tend to be the best cash flow.
Right. That's one of our property is in the very low.
Yeah.
I think once that was years ago, I was looking for tenants. I put the house on Facebook, some real estate market, and I put it there. They're looking for tenants, this, and I have to put lots of requirements. And one of the women replied, give me comments. Like, come on, you are talking about a Greensboro. why put so much requirement? Just a Greensboro. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Which kind of speaks to the area, right? I mean, again, definitely is probably our lowest income area that where our house is, but again, it is one of our properties that gives us probably some of the best cash flow.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe not, if not the best, one of the best.
Yeah.
Right. So again, for us, our safe space is real estate. Again, we have our equity that we're building that we buy in with equity. Again, our equity is being paid off by our tenants. We receive tax breaks, and again, we receive cash flow, every month. And again, for those who kind of follow our channel, that's kind of how we're able to live here in Mexico. Is we live off our cash flow in the U.S. Right? And then so we're able to do things that we enjoy. We spend time with our son. We're able to kind of produce this channel. Again, for us, it's not really a big deal. Of course, we like people to get information, but we make money. We don't. It's cool. We feel comfortable enough from our investments in real estate back home.
Yeah, and I mean our goal is within 10, 15 years, some of our property will be slowly paid off. So we will be just have more cash flow, and it's all paid off. No more mortgage. We only pay tax and insurance and maintenance.
Right, and we already have a couple of houses that we're not far from paying off. Within the next few years. Which again is good because then it's also our safety net. Again, if some emergency happens, we can always refi. We can always get HELOC loans, which are the home equity line of credits, to get money without having to sell the house.
Yeah, so again, the one thing I'm telling Ron, like when we're getting older and older, you don't want to be bothered by the tenants, manage all the houses, had some headache once it's getting vacancy or need a major fixing up. So that's the time you want some properties already paid off. When we're 60, 70,
right.
that's how lots of time people start selling. Like lots of older people that I'm tired of managing the condos.
Right.
But that's the time. If everything paid off, we can even hire manager to manage our properties. Right. You have the money like 10%. Okay, we have less profit, but we feel more comfortable.
Right.
We don't have that much headache every day.
Right, and then we have
that's down the way.
Right. And we have access to cash. I mean, it may not be as liquid, but again, like I said, for emergencies, catastrophe, we need $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for whatever. We can get that money within 30, 45 days.
You know, cash out or sell
through a refi. So either sell or just refi, because you can refi, you can still rent it. You still make cash flow, right? So that's how we feel safe. I know we have a couple more questions.
Gloria asks, who are your mentors for real estate?
Now, our personal ones, we don't have any mentors now. When we started, I would go back to the beginning. We did join a real estate investment group community. which unfortunately, well, it kind of exists in the sense that the people who are still part of it still can communicate with each other, and which we've done, but formally doesn't exist anymore. So that's kind of how we initially got into it. First it was just through our own personal research, on YouTube University, and reading books. I think that may have been another question also.
Oh yeah, that was what books are out reading in real estate.
Okay, so I think that's how we started. I think, and we've talked about this many times, probably the first book that got us into the mindset of real estate investing, which is very popular for most people, is The Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's not so much a book about real estate investing as it is, again, about maybe how you look at money, how you invest into businesses, how you see money. So again, it's one of the books that kind of changed the way we looked at money, right? And do you want? And one of the things he always kind of pushes is to get out of the rat race, which is the everyday, go to work, 9 to 5 and grind until you're 60, 65, for a pension or retirement that may or may not be there when you get there. I think the majority of people who tend to get to retirement tend to be safe, but are you willing to risk being that? It kind of like insurance, right? Are you willing to risk being that, to be a retirement age, in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and then a bad crash comes along, and wipes out a lot of your savings if you don't have your own personal savings. So I would say, he kind of talks about these ideas about business and cash flow. So that's kind of what we started with Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Anybody else? What other ones?
The books. Sure, I read a lot.
She definitely read more than me. I
read almost every book of Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
All the books.
So Kiyosaki is good to look at. I would consider him a mentor.
And as a woman, I like Robert Kiyosaki's wife, Kim Kiyosaki. She said, there's a book named like you must be a woman, you need to be rich, something like that. But it's a whole thing, talk about how women in the real estate. It's like, yeah, most women feel, oh, I'm a woman, I'm not good at it. But she said that's wrong. 30% of women in the real estate, and some are doing much better than men because we are very analyze the details. Some women are very and home are mostly woman-owned homes, and they like to buy decoration. They have a good sense of home. So it's like for anything fixing up or anything. But she just gave us a lot of confidence, like you can do it. But it's not just the motivation book. She also talked about how she did it. She started only 25,000, or at that time was 20. No, I will talk about the price.
Oh.
First, the condo she bought. She was so nervous. Was 45,000 or some price like that. Forgot, in Phoenix, Arizona. And then later on, she sold it, and she buy a fourplex. And yeah, they retired within 10 years. This couple, it's amazing.
Right.
That's how they made it.
Right.
So they shared a lot of technique, how they do it. Right.
Yes. So anything by the Kiyosaki. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, they even designed a game you can play online on their website. It's called a cash flow game. It really gave you a good sense how you make a living, how you spend, and how you invest. On that cash flow game, if you're interested, it's free. Everyone can.
And you can actually buy the board game itself, the physical board game itself. And a lot of places even have cash flow clubs, right? Where people get together and they play. We never did this, but I know it's out there. Yeah, which is it sets kind of the parameters of what it takes to understand how to invest. And I think one of the key things they always talk about are things like liabilities and assets. And again, you draw cards and, like you want to buy a boat, because a lot of people see things like luxuries as assets, right? Whether it's their car or boats, TVs, but in reality, these are what he would define as a liability, right? Things that take money out of your pocket. So sometimes, if you're playing, cash flow for the first time, and you draw a boat, oh yeah, cool, I can afford a boat. A lot of people tend to buy that, but then they see like there's maintenance and this and that. That kind of comes along with that. So it kind of puts that into your head, how to look at things. And how to.
Robert Kiyosaki's whole point is any assets, or if you call it assets, that must be put money to your pocket.
Right.
So that's called assets. But your house is not an asset. Your personal home is not. Because you really don't generate cash flow.
Right.
But
it's taking money out of your pocket.
Yeah, keep spending, maintain it, upgrade it.
Right.
But any anything like you buy a car, yeah, if the car is used for business or you work for a company, yeah, sure, it's an asset. But if just a luxurious car, no, you drop value every year.
Right.
So
and the maintenance,
liability.
right? It's a liability.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's the basic concept.
Right. And we can get into the whole idea. Like, I know one of the controversial topics is what Landy just stated about your own personal house being a liability. I know a lot of people are going to say, nope, that's not true. You know, my house, I bought my house at this. Now my house is worth this. But again, until the day you sell it, or use it to put money into your pocket, it is a liability until that day. And
yeah. And then some people do that flipping and living, fix the house,
which is different
for 2 years.
Oh,
yeah. But it's a personal home, but I also call it like a business.
Right.
You're running around.
Right.
But for 2 years, as a couple, you can write off $500K US dollar. You don't have to pay any tax.
Right.
But some people, they do that for a living.
Right.
But not for us. I think it's too much once we have a kid.
Yeah, we have to move
Too much moving.
Yeah, we move anyway.
No, we move anyway.
And there's so many hacks. I know. At first, I thought you were going about like you buy a house and every 2 years you kind of sell it and you use equity and you can kind of within like 10 years you can have a house that's worth $1 million that's paid off because you start low at a low house, you kind of fix it a little bit and then you gain equity and then you kind of either 1031 or just buy and sell it and then you just kind of step up to the next level and you just kind of every 2 years for 10 years and then within 10 years you can have give or take roughly $1 million home that's paid off free and clear. But again, that's a 10-year plan.
Yeah, but how long people can really do that?
Right. So again, you have to do it 5 times.
Yeah, that's the goal. It will be 5 times.
Right. So are you willing to buy low and kind of build up over 10 years and sell every 2 years and go through the whole process? I know sometimes people don't like that because it is a process to buy, fix up a little bit. You don't want to fix it up to the top, just enough to get some equity and then have to sell it and then move all over again every 2 years. That can be a bit of a pain in the butt, but for some people, it's very worth it.
Yeah, and another thing we also studied a lot was the bigger pocket. If you have ever heard about it, Gloria, biggerpocket.com. Yeah. So they do have lots of good value information podcasts. Yeah, and on the website, right. On the forum, you can ask questions, get connected with local investors. They even have a bigger pocket meetup. We joined the one was in McAllen. Right. So that was just like go to meetups, talk to people, read, listen to podcasts when you're driving. That's how I got started.
Right.
When I moved to US, I don't have a job. I just started off.
I was teaching.
Right. I listened to podcasts literally every day when I'm doing housework. I put my earphone on and I just listen to them.
Right.
So you learn a lot.
Right.
But sometimes it's also overwhelming because they talk about different topics, too many strategies. And
opposite sides of the strategies, right? Do this strategy because it's better. Do this strategy. And so you have to kind of filter through all that information.
It might be too much overwhelming at the beginning.
Yeah. Which is, I guess, let me go back and talk about the group we joined, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's why it's good to have a personal group. I mean, we had to pay to get into it.
Right.
But again, it becomes a lot more personal. You get a lot more attention. We had our leader at the beginning, like it was Jose, right? Was his name? And so you can kind of go ask personal questions, and you can kind of filter out through all the information out there. I mean, you're still going to get different ideas. We had our local leader, and then we had the Matthew, which was the kind of the creator of the group, and you could always reach out to these people, and they'd have their weekly meetings where you could always ask these questions. And again, it would kind of always help. They'd always kind of help you filter through the information. I always remember one of the things that Matt said was you have to kind of find the signal. There's a lot of white noise out there, which is all the information, and you kind of have to find your true signal as far as what you want to do. You
need to find your niche. Don't jump around.
Yeah.
Find your niche. Like we only do real estate in the residential, single family only.
Right.
I stick to it. There are many noise out there. What about multifamily? What about the buyer storage unit?
Which is good.
Yeah,
all good.
A parking for boats. Oh yeah, it sounds good. Everything sounds awesome. Yeah, people are doing it. They make money. But stick to my goal. It's all about the reputation.
Right.
I keep repeat, do the same thing until I'm familiar with it.
Right.
Don't start a new road.
Right. And because it's very difficult. And again, and we're not saying that maybe in the future, who knows what the future holds, that we may go in the directions, maybe, but you always have to be educated and educate yourself. And so I think a lot of, and it's difficult to gain the traction and momentum in real estate. So I think a lot of times people, they hear about one niche and they kind of start going and they're going, and then they find it's too difficult or they're not having the success that they thought they would. And then so what do? They go in another direction. Now what happens when you go in the other direction is you tend to go back to zero. and you have to learn all about that niche again.
Another 6 months, 1 year to build up.
Just to build up before you start putting things into action. And again, if you're successful, great. But again, a lot of times people aren't successful because real estate and investing is a difficult thing to get traction in. And then they go another direction and they drop. And then 6 months, a year later, they don't like it. They go another direction. So, and it just kind of repeats itself, and you're never able to be successful. Wait till you're successful in one aspect of real estate before you even think about deciding to venture into a different aspect. Again, that's our personal opinion.
Our conclusion.
Right. Because like I said, we do know people who are very successful who have gone in multi directions, but normally, just like us, they start in one, and then they tend to branch out into other parts.
And we also see many people after 6 months, nothing happened.
Gone.
They disappeared.
Right.
They don't show up in the meeting anymore.
Right.
Even they paid the education fee, they just quit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, when we started back in 2015, 2016, right, and people who were kind of in our circle and people we'd always go to these meetings. And again, I still see today because because of social media, who become very successful. In my own personal eyes, I would say maybe 8 to 10. But now we're talking over almost a 9-year period, right? And again, we're talking about the hundreds of people we've met, right? And I'm talking about maybe I can see 8 to 10 guys in this particular case that have kind of become successful who started when we did. Of course, there's guys who've been around longer, but I'm talking about who kind of I would consider started in our same time frame. So again, it's not easy to become successful, and I would hardly consider ourselves successful. I would say we're very middle of the road in the investor sphere. I know by other people's standards we may be successful, but in the investor sphere of real estate, we're very mid-level at best.
Yeah, I just feel I feel comfortable with what I'm doing right now. Right. I don't want to compare with some big guys.
No.
Yeah, it's
never compare yourself.
It's their goal. It's not my goal. They only show you the successful part, but they don't show you how stressful, how much time they put in it.
Right.
How frustrating they are.
Right. It does take a lot of effort and time, for sure. Even the guys who you see now, like I see online, they're at masterminds. And again, when I think of these people, like, oh, these guys are very successful. They're doing very well. They're flipping. So they tend to put their what they're doing well out there, and the bad. I mean, like, so why are they still at masterminds? Because that's what it takes. It takes that kind of mindset to kind of continue to be on that level. But again, so that's a whole other aspect of being successful in real estate. Yeah. And which we chose not to do. Right? For us, that's not what we felt was necessary.
Yeah, I like a little bit easier lifestyle. I think I want to explore Mexico instead of flipping houses.
Right. Oh, in the long term, sure. Like I said, we may do stuff like this here and there in the future, but for the most part, we're kind of comfortable where we are at the moment, right?
Right. Yeah. And Gloria, another question: do you set goals, short term, long term? I think at the beginning we did. Again,
no, go ahead.
Okay.
Actually, let me get some water. Let Andy explain.
Yeah, at the beginning we did set up a goal. I mean, what blueprint, right? What's the paper called? The blueprint.
What paper?
Like the yearly picture you put on the refrigerator.
Oh, vision board.
Oh, vision board. Vision board. Yeah, I always like to cut some houses from magazine or newspaper, put it there, like, oh, that's my goal. I want to own how many houses. And yeah, that was sorry, let me put the microphone here away. So that was at the beginning. I did set up a 5-year goal for us. I was like, oh, let's own 10 houses, 5 years. You always set up a little bit high, but not too high. But also not too low.
Don't set it low. That's definitely the thing. Don't set low.
But also don't set up ridiculous high. Then you also feel, oh, I'm not good enough. Yeah, we did the first 5-year goal.
Yeah, and we were pretty
10 years. Yeah, I also that time I was dreaming about, oh, a long-term goal, I want to own a farm. But now I got it, and I don't want to live there. But that's the thing, the dream and reality.
Right. We did set up our long-term goals, but we talked about our 5 and 10-year goals. We would even and it was just ourselves, and we were starting out, and we started out wholesaling, and what that took. And we would even have weekly meetings, right? Once or twice a week.
Yeah, we were very strict at that time. It's about another book I read about attraction. Someone recommended to us, and I said, okay, that's good. It's about a company. Even you and me, we're a company.
Right.
So weekly, every Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, it's our Roddy and me meeting. right? And only 30 minutes. I don't want to just keep talking, blah, blah, forever.
Keep it short and concise.
30 minutes. And we talk about what we achieve and what's
our goal for the week.
Our goal and what's the goal for next week. Right. What do we want to do?
Did we reach last week's goal?
Yeah.
Right.
And for the last some 15 to 20 minutes, that's the big part. We talk about the problem. What's our issue? What's the obstacle?
Right.
What we didn't do right.
Right.
And we give each of us a score. You score me, I score you.
And you score yourself also.
I forgot. Yeah, something like that. We did that for a while.
Yeah, so we definitely held ourselves accountable, right? So we did have our short-term goals. I mean, you're talking daily, weekly goals that we did have. Now I would say we've definitely backed off.
We just maintain.
Yeah. That's kind of we've kind of found our happy spot.
Yeah. Now the goal is at least I can make one YouTube video every week. Rod got to make one. I make one.
Right.
He's go set up some interviews with people.
Right.
Something like that.
So we've kind of shifted our focus. Right now, we kind of see YouTube as our business.
It's more like helping people. We don't really make money.
Right. Like I said, for us, it's not okay. We enjoy it. I think Landy enjoys the creative side of it. If I would speak for her, as far as kind of creating the our vlogs and our adventures. I like talking to people, so I'm trying to set up more and more interviews with people because I find that I like interacting with people. I like hearing interesting stories and sharing with people out there.
Yeah.
What are people who move to Mexico? Who are they? Understand that when you move to Mexico, there's not a mold. There's not a one size fits all to moving to Mexico. There's different people with different backgrounds. All different socioeconomic levels and all different types of race and gender, whatever you want to call it. So to me, I find that interesting. And I want to share that with people out there, understand anybody can move to Mexico. And of course, just showing our daily lives and tips, with our daily vlogs, or going live like today and answering any questions that people may have.
Right. I think we're happy to help people in the contribution side. Right. Yeah. So if anyone need help, we can do a live and answer some questions. We're happy with that.
Yeah. So again, we've kind of found our happy little space right now. And again, I think that's kind of what we would wish for anybody out there, and anybody that should be their own personal goals. Kind of find your own happy space, find your happy, level, that you feel comfortable in life. And if you're content with that, great. Who is anybody to argue and dispute that?
Yeah, I think something more
what?
Or no? I want a question part of that was so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any more questions out there, or anything else we could speak on.
I think that's almost it. I think Gloria want to go into the real estate, do some investment in Mexico. Sure. Yeah, there are many opportunities. Actually, yesterday I talked to a Chinese man who gave me a call to do some consultation. Actually, he didn't really ask so much, but he just want to share his story. He's looking to buy the whole building for hotel, and it's already running. He tried to give offer and ask me my opinion or something about it.
Yep,
it was somewhere by Puerto Vallarta, the beach town. I think so. Yeah, it was San Pancho. Yeah. That's okay. I can tell you.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. I mean, that's the goal. He's going there to try to give some offer and go from there. So it's awesome. And people see the potential of the future Mexico smaller town. He's smart. He's not by Puerto Vallarta. He didn't buy in Buceria.
Or Sayulita.
Sayulita, no, it's flooded.
Right.
So San Pancho can be the future one.
Yeah.
And it's small. I mean, that's just, it's a lot of potential places here. If you're smart, do your own research.
Yeah, I think Mexico.
Yeah.
The way things are going, I think a lot of people. I think that's why Mexico is continuing to get a lot of influx of immigrants from U.S., Canada, and all over the world, is because I think people see the potential of Mexico and all the good things it has to offer. I mean, are there negatives? Sure, we talk about this from time to time, but again, there's just so much positive. There's so much upside to Mexico, and you see where it's kind of you see its growth now and its potential for growth in the very near future. That is definitely, we have our own opinions about buying things here as far as investment properties, whether we do or not. But I think a lot of people out there feel comfortable and they see the potential growth and money they can make out here.
Yeah,
the good and the bad. I know, again, I know people are gonna say, "Well, that,
Yeah, and not much restriction on Airbnb here, short term, which is good.
right,
Yeah.
good for investing." Again, I know people have their opinion, but definitely on the investing side, it definitely has its upsides.
Yeah,
sure.
in the end, it's all about the numbers. What's the rate? What's the return on investment? As you barely do any leverage here, you put all the cash here.
Yeah,
that's the part I don't like.
yeah.
But good part also, if the number hits someone's goal, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, we've never looked into things. I know they said owner financing is not really legal here. Different strategies. Wholesaling, I don't know. Again, and we're not going to go into these things because we haven't researched it at all. But from what we kind of feel and what we hear, it's definitely not as open to the type of creativity that you can do in the U.S. as far as how you can make money in different ways.
Yeah, and also I looked into those auction houses. It's like a pre-foreclosure houses. You always find them on Facebook Marketplace, even on Immobila24. You say, oh, wow, this apartment, look at the house. What the price? Am I looking something wrong? Yeah. Then you read the whole thing. Oh, it's also a pre-foreclosure or already foreclosed house.
Right.
But then also on the Facebook forum, some people talk about like, yeah, you don't want to touch those things. A lot of scammers out there. Sure, everybody talk about real estate, a lot of scammers. And we never really look into that. They said somehow it's the owner can take it back, but it's like in the US. But
you get your money back.
They said no, in the Mexico, the owner, if they pay the laid out tax, they could take the property you already bought, take it back. So there is a high risk. Yeah.
So even the money I bought it.
Yeah, even you closed it. But I don't know,
right.
But there's so much unknown parts make me feel no certainty.
Right.
So maybe one day I will look into that more, talk to more professionals. For the moment, I don't know. I cannot give you guys a very clear, is that good or not?
Right.
But there is options there. You're just gonna do your own due diligence.
Right? Because the one thing I'll say to that, is that I think maybe a few of the people have actually gone through it, and I think very few of the people who say it's bad have gone through it. Again, just like a lot of things on social media.
Right, you just don't know.
Yeah, I think, again, personal feeling is a lot of these people are just, I heard. They've never really truly done it themselves.
Sure.
Right? So again, I think the best way to go if we were ever to do something like that is go talk to an attorney, right? Again, because you do always got to be careful with scammers out there, sure. But if you go talk to a lawyer or an attorney who specializes in this, you're definitely going to more certainty.
Yeah.
And again, you're going to have that backing. But you have to be willing to pay. I think that's why people, and this goes with all real estate, people tend to get scared because they want to do it all by themselves, and they don't want to pay people. Like I said, if we ever were to consider doing something like that, without question, I'd be more than happy to pay an attorney, right, for their expertise to make sure, because you might gain on the short end, but long term, if you keep on doing it, you're probably going to run into a scammer, and all that money you've gained, you might lose on one scam. Right. So pay the money, pay your professionals. They're professionals for a reason, right? Don't be afraid to help people and pay them what they're worth to protect your backside. So that's we hope we found this valuable. Again, anybody who might watch this in the near future when it goes up online, I know we started talking about things about maintenance and cost of housing. I know we ended up getting into real estate, which we love talking about.
Yeah, sure.
So if you have any questions about this, feel free to drop us a line, leave us a comment, whether you agree or disagree with what we're saying about real estate and it being a good investment, and talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for
Gloria,
watching.
Thanks for all your questions. We really appreciate it. Everyone else.
Yeah, anyone else out there didn't leave a comment, I don't know your name, but thank you for watching. Thank you for spending time with us.
Talk to everybody soon.
Bye.
Bye.